Gangsters, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 18th episode of Pony 411, aka the last episode, because we're all gonna die in like 2 days. So
BS.
or 3
I don't
days.
believe it.
How many days? December 21st. So whatever day you are currently listening to this, if you are listening to it past December 21st,
You're dead.
that means you're dead. Congratulations. If you are listening to this prior to December 21st, it means you're not dead yet.
Keyword
Savor
yet.
your last few days. Savor your last few days by listening to the previous 17 episodes of Pony 411. But until then, keep listening to this one, where we're going to talk about ponies, as we usually do. Mainly the new episode, the Wonderbolt Academy. We'll also talk about, well, I shouldn't say we. One of us will talk about the DVD. Pony DVD just came out for season 1. And we'll throw in some fan content and call it a night. Oh, and some quick hits. How could I forget? How could I forget? Who am I, by the way?
I don't know. Who are you?
Who am I?
Why are you here?
No. Yes, anyway, this is 24-1. My name is 4String, and I'm happy to have you on board this evening or morning or night and evening are the same thing. I hope it's not afternoon where you're listening to, because if you're listening in the afternoon, no, it's bad. Anyway, with me tonight are Nemesis.
Hi.
And Artfan.
Good evening.
Returning to us after
We had a discussion about the impressions.
We did, didn't we?
I'm still working on that Hitchcock impression.
That's right.
Just
I
give me
forgot
some
you were going
time.
to do that, like, what was that, like the 4th episode?
No, that was like the Halloween episode, but I didn't.
And we couldn't deal for the first half of it because anyway.
Because you were laughing too damn hard.
Exactly.
Yep.
So anyway, this is how most of our Pony 401 episodes start. If you're a new listener and you haven't turned away yet from our constant just whatever. But yes, this is Pony 401, a podcast about ponies.
Is that what it's about?
Yes, we got invited to all the conventions this year, so see us at all the conventions. We're like featured guests and stuff. Oh wait, what? We're not? Oh, oops, okay. Well, we will be. Just you wait. We're going to be the mainstream for every single convention at the same time.
You see, we have pictures, certain pictures that
We have a lot
people
of
may
peeps.
not, want other people to see. So yeah.
It turns out they'd only be incriminating towards us, but you know what? I don't care. I don't care. I still love that picture of Art.
Wait, what?
It reminds me of this Christmas ornament I found of Winnie the Pooh,
Hang on.
and he's wearing a bathing suit, and he's eating honey, but the bathing suit is colored like a bee, so it looks like the middle is like yellow, but from a distance it looks like just his skin, like fur or whatever, so it looks like he's just wearing a bikini. And it's just, find it at your nearest Hallmark, ladies and gentlemen, for the holiday season. It's just like, find it and then look at it from like a small distance. It's the weirdest thing. Also really funny. It's just like, oh, you go, Pooh. Way to be a cross-dressing superstar. So,
well then.
I guess we'll start. Art's getting miffed over here. We have to start before he gets unruly.
Don't make me start pulling out Homestuck references.
They'll make me kick
Come
you out
on.
of the call.
Come on, Art. Where's your Christmas spirit? It's the end of the world in like 3 days.
Well, I know. That means it's time to catch up on the latest pages of Homestuck.
How can you think of Homestuck at a time like this? Also, how can you think of ponies? Anyway. I guess we'll start off with the quick hits like we always do. These are some of the quick little news bits that have happened around the fandom in the past, well, since we last recorded, which has been a little longer than usual because we had some issues getting everybody together all at once.
And by we, he means him.
This episode. Yes. But, I mean, you guys could have easily recorded by yourselves, but you didn't.
Because we like having you here. You are a credit to the team.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. Anyway, quick hits for this week. We got 5 quick stories. First of all, After an extended wait and a premiere at Equestria LA, the former BronyCon documentary, which is now entitled Bronies, is seeing an official digital release. Now geared toward the Brony fandom as a whole, the film will be released on January 12th as per a tweet from producer Michael Bruckhoff. So you can now check that out if you've paid for it or otherwise on January 12th, unless if anything changes again, which it could. Refer back to one of our previous episodes where we have an interview with the director of that documentary, Laura Malakite. I was going to say Malachi. It's Malakite from Suburban. Okay, that's why I want to say it anyway. But yeah, you should refer back to that to get some inside information, or it's probably actually not inside, but some information about the documentary and what you can expect from it when it finally hits the internets. The synopsis for the 5th edition in the IDW My Little Pony comic franchise is now released. Written by Katie Cook, the comic will focus on Twilight and company dealing with a quote, perilous new danger in the form of a long unseen enemy, end quote. A second mini-comic, the second in the series, will focus on Rainbow Dash and her battle against Cloud Gremlins. So definitely check those out here soon. I think those are dropping in... I think that's actually dropping more in like March. Yeah. So you got a little bit, but that's okay because you got like 3 other episodes, or issues rather, that you can have to curtail that wait.
Plus, in case you didn't notice, we now got new writers and artists for the comics instead of just Katie Cook and Andy Price. So
yes, that's right. So good times ahead, indeed. European PonyCon Galacon is looking for volunteers to help fill out its 2013 iteration. Interested parties can work in one of 3 areas: guards, documentation, and reception. To find out how to help out, visit the link in the description for an email and a message template. Hola, Mexican listeners. As per a post on Equestria Daily, blind bag ponies have finally come to Mexico. Catch them at your nearest store when you're buying tacos or whatever you Mexicans do. I don't know.
Oh God, what are you doing?
I am alienating listeners. Finally, in more convention news, Big Apple PonyCon, New York's new convention for the fandom after BronyCon moved to Baltimore, has announced My Little Pony comic artist Andy Price and cover artist Stephanie Buscema as special guests, joining Katie Cook, Tara Strong, Mike the Microphone, and more, many more in fact, at the March Con, as well as fandom program Celestia Radio, The Brony Show, and Brony State. And not Pony 411. Because life is cruel, ladies and gentlemen. Speaking of cruel, that's the end of the quick hits. The quick hits. That's the end of the quick hits.
Crickets.
For the evening. That's the end of as the crickets sounded. Anyway, that's the end of the quick hits for the episode, and we'll be back next week with even more. I'm sure we'll just dazzle you in how great they are and how you haven't heard them anywhere else, except you probably have. But actually, I was just noticing on, kind of relating to the last one, I was just noticing on Facebook that Big Apple PonyCon is announcing a couple musicians, in addition to Mike the Microphone, that will be at its con as part of a, I believe it's called Coltella Music Fest, which is, if some of you recall, either through our show or just by hearing it from them, the horse's mouth, as it were, BronyCon is going to be having its own little mini music festival too during its convention, and of course Everfree Northwest has done the same. Big Apple PonyCon's doing one called the Coltella Music Festival, and they've just announced in the last hour or so I Be a Brony Rapper and Omnipony. So if you're into those 2 artists, hey, guess what? you should check that out. I guess the music festival is also going to be emceed by Mike the Microphone, so that should be fun. That should be very interesting. If I was going, I guess I could necessarily technically still go, but if I do go, I would be very interested in that. But anyway, that's the quick hits for the week. Thank you for listening to me ramble, and we have an episode, ladies and gentlemen.
We do?
It's called Wonderbolt Academy, or Wonderbolt Academy. Is it Wonderbolt's Academy?
Wonderbolt.
It's Wonderbolt. Wonderbolt
Yes.
Academy. It's Wonderbolt Academy. And this one focuses on Rainbow Dash. Big surprise there. And this premiered last Saturday, although, as many of you may recall, it actually leaked early.
Oops.
On, what was that, Hub World?
Yep.
Something like that?
Hub World's the Hub website.
It was actually out Wednesday night. And so a lot of people watched it very early. And so by the time it was on Saturday, a lot of people were like, oh, I've already seen it. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
I noticed that Twitter was a lot more, I don't want to say calm, but like there wasn't as much talk about the episode. And I was like, why is that? Oh, wait, that's right. Everybody's probably already seen it.
Yep.
But anyway, quick rundown of the episode. Wonderbolt Academy, in this episode, Rainbow Dash finally gets her acceptance letter to attend the Wonderbolt Academy, where she'll train to hopefully become a Wonderbolt one day, which of course has always been her dream since we've known her in the series. So she happens to head out there to the Academy and meets rather quickly up with another Pegasus by the name of Lightning Dust, who very much shares a lot of characteristics with her in terms of being very, I shouldn't say full of oneself, but very confident in one's abilities, and just being very good too at what they do. They're both easily the best flyers of the group, and she meets up with this Lightning Dust character. The Academy itself is headed up by Spitfire, of previous episodes fame from a couple episodes that the Wonderbolts were in, and of course this being the most we've ever seen Spitfire in an episode, which excited many people. And
I wonder who he means by many people.
I don't know. Many people can mean many people. You know what I mean? So the episode goes from there, and quickly Rainbow Dash and Lightning Dust establish themselves at the top of the charts, so to speak, as the best flyers in the Academy, and of course are impressing Spitfire. And there comes a point where they must be paired into a lead pony wing pony situation, and both of them of course expect to be lead pony rather, because that's just who they are. And as it turns out, Rainbow Dash ends up getting wing pony, and Lightning Dust gets lead pony. And this happens after a certain exercise in which Lightning Dust actually pushes herself a little more, kind of stretches her boundaries a bit more than Rainbow Dash does, who just played a little more safe, even though she completed the course faster. And because of that, Spitfire decides to put her as lead pony. And of course that irks Rainbow Dash, but she decides, whatever. Moves on with it. But it starts turning out that, yes, Lightning Dust is pushing herself, but there's also a lot of recklessness going on there. And it turns out toward the end of the episode, Rainbow Dash's friends, the rest of the main six, come and visit her, and Lightning Dust creates a tornado to complete the course faster, and the tornado actually almost takes out, pretty much does take out the other main six in Twilight's balloon, and they all start plummeting to the ground, and everybody freaks out, but the day ends up being saved. But Rainbow Dash by the end of the episode basically goes to Spitfire and says, that was very reckless, and quits basically when she decides, this isn't for me if that's what gets rewarded around here. And which is crazy because, this has been her dream for however long. And as it turns out, as many expected, Spitfire comes out and, says she was wrong. And we can't really reward recklessness. And, Lightning Dust actually ends up getting kicked out of the academy. And Rainbow Dash has her oh my gosh moment that she was destined to have since some point in the episode. And, and there's also a side story with Pinkie Pie, waiting for Rainbow Dash to write back. And, she never does because she's busy with her new friend Lightning Dust. So, that is a quick and dirty, synopsis, or not synopsis, I guess, recap of the episode. So, I have a couple questions for you guys about the episode, but I wanted to start off just asking you guys your general thoughts of Wonderbolt Academy, starting with Nemesis.
I wish the writers would kind of stop trying to make me like Rainbow Dash. Because they're making her tolerable. Stop that. But I did enjoy it because it's one of those things. Like every single time a Dash-centric episode comes up, I'm like, oh, okay. But I don't say I'm trying to drop my expectations a little because I really don't like just the Dash-centric episodes because Dash's personality rubs me the wrong way for several reasons, but they're starting to make her actually likable for me, and that kind of threw me for a loop for a bit. But yeah, I just I like the little things, the little touches here and there, and I kind of like the little side story with Pinkie. Although I think a lot of people said that she was actually kind of being more annoying than anything, but I did enjoy it.
Okay, Art, what about you?
I enjoyed the episode a lot. I mean, I've always been a bit of a Rainbow Dash fan, so it was nice to see her get almost a solo episode. The Academy itself, I thought, was a pretty interesting environment. I was actually, as I was talking to these guys at the beginning of the podcast, I kind of laughed because the whole time I was watching it, I was like, wow, this was such a missed opportunity to have Arlie Ermy be the pony drill sergeant, and that would have been incredible. But
like I said, Arlie Ermy should have just voiced Spitfire.
Yes, that would have been the best thing.
It would just, isn't Spitfire in one of the European countries? Isn't she actually a dude?
Yeah.
Or voiced by a dude?
See, so, I there you go. Perfect.
I can't remember which one though.
Yeah, me either.
This is I might sound stupid by saying this, but is this the first time we've seen Spitfire?
No.
No, Spitfire's was her first appearance was in the Best Night Ever. Well, I shouldn't say that.
That was her first speaking
She's
appearance.
appeared. Yeah, she's appeared in pretty much every episode, or almost every episode, if not every episode that the Wonderbolts have been in. But she had a speaking part in Best Night Ever, in which Rainbow Dash is basically fawning over her. And that's where Soren and his pies come from, too. By the way, no Soren in this episode, and I'm so sad. But then she also popped up in Hurricane Fluttershy briefly at the end. So anyway, yeah.
Okay. So this would be her first actual major presence in the show then.
This was her first major presence, correct? In Best Night Ever, she had a couple lines, but
I see.
Nothing like this.
All right. Well, I thought her character was still pretty well written. Probably a bit over the top, but I think that's when you think of an academy and drill instructors and all that. Generally, those are played over the top, so I think it worked out pretty well. And overall, it was an enjoyable episode.
Okay. Oh yeah, one last thing. Yeah.
Yes, Snowflake does make a return in this episode, which was totally unexpected and really fantastic. I thought I jumped up. I was in a hotel room watching it with my girlfriend when we were watching when it leaked, and I jumped up on the bed. It's like, oh my god, Snowflake's back! This is the best. I was already so excited since Spitfire, but then Snowflake. Well, really quick. I don't have too much to say, but I liked it. I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. Mainly because I've been kind of hyping myself up for this episode, because when I first saw when we first had that big period of we pretty much almost all of these recent episodes were revealed in terms of the names of them in that period a couple months ago. I saw this one and I'm like, oh, hello there. And so I was really excited, and I don't, even if I hadn't hyped myself up though, I don't think it would have necessarily been one of my favorites. I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like something that was like really that flashy to me. Like, you know, it's really tough to explain why I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. It's just, it just didn't create as much of a response to me as some of the other episodes have. I guess I wasn't as engaged with the story. I guess I just kind of expected what was going to happen, and that's I think is my main thing about it. But I still really enjoyed it because, you know, Spitfire is my favorite pony, so I was excited to see Spitfire, and Rainbow Dash is my favorite main 6, so I was of course excited. You know, both these combined, that's wonderful, and you know, I of course I also just love Pegasi a lot, so I enjoyed kind of a whole episode where it was just very centered around Pegasi and being up in the clouds. I really love the whole cloud setting that the show sometimes gets. It was very, very interesting, and I also loved how the other students at the academy were interesting, but they weren't like too like they weren't distracting. And I was afraid they were going to have some of those bro ponies from I forget what episode that is, but they call her Rainbow Crash. You know, that's I was worried they were going to come back. Is that what it was? Yeah, okay. I could picture. I just can't remember the name of it, but I was like, I don't want to see them again. But luckily they had characters who just seemed like more of like the flying type. They were just like normal Pegasi, except for Snowflake, who's just crazy. Yeah. But yeah, they were fun to watch in the background. Everyone saw, but they didn't like take away from it. Like they didn't distract you, and that was fine with me. Anyway, so I have a couple questions here, and I think the first one I want to start out on, because this is one of the ones that I didn't mention this just now because I was going to mention it here, but this is one of the things that kind of bugged me, and it's about Spitfire actually. Yeah. Big surprise, and her characterization. Now the first time we saw Spitfire was in the first time speaking voice, Best Night Ever. She was seemed pretty down to earth, like, you know, she obviously is good at what she does, but she didn't seem too like, you know, haughty or anything like that. You just, you know, normal, whatever. And in this episode, she comes out as like this, you know, super, hard-nosed, like drill sergeant type. I wanted to get your guys' opinion of her, kind of that shift from that to this. And, you know, do you think there are both those personas of her, or is this just like, you know, writing that they just decided, well, now she's like this? Since, you know, something that has happened where like a character might kind of be like this before and now they're like this, or just in general, like, you know, what did you think of that characterization? Was it a little too over the top? That's a lot of things to throw at, I guess, but, you know, we'll get through it. We'll start with Nemesis once again. What do you think?
Well, for the over the top thing, just to, I think almost everything concerning in media in general, not just cartoons and stuff, but in media in general, when it comes to like a boot camp, everything, almost everyone plays it way over the top. Like the drill sergeant's like always in your face or anything. And in fact, this one actually I kind of think was kind of mild compared to other comparisons of like boot camps and whatnot.
Well, it is My Little Pony.
Yeah, so. But when it comes to Spitfire's little personality and voice and stuff, what I'm thinking is, you know, you have drill sergeant. You know, they're not like super tough, you know, in your face all the time. They can't really do that, or most people aren't like that. It's like, you know, when we first saw her in Best Night Ever, you know, she was talking to Dash as a fan. You know, Dash was a fan of the Wonderbolts and stuff. You know, or of course also saved her life and everything, but. You know, she was a fan. She was in public, so she's going to be probably a little more laid back and more. That's probably her real personality. But when she's a drill sergeant, you know, she needs to be in your face. She needs to be no nonsense. You know, constantly on top and commanding. So she has to be gruff in that situation. So it wouldn't surprise me if those were both facets of her personality, not just a writing oversight. But then again, it could just be, well, let's just put Spitfire in because people want to see her again.
Right. Art, what do you think? And I know you didn't really see Best Night Ever, so it's gonna be a little tough for you. But
Well,
do your thing.
I mean, I agree with everything Nemesis just said. I mean, I was gonna say, drill sergeants, in Best Night Ever, she wasn't at the Wonderbolt Academy. She wasn't doing her job. So of course she's gonna be down to earth and all that, and she's gonna talk to Rainbow Dash like a fan. But when you put Rainbow Dash into Spitfire's environment, now you're at the Academy. This is what Spitfire does. She wants to make sure that these cadets get what's going on and are trained properly. So like Nemesis said, she has to be in their face like any other drill sergeant at a militaristic type of academy would be. And so I think that it's a very fair characterization of her. I think it's valid, and I think that I think it's perfectly fine to have both facets. You have her being down to earth, but when the time calls for it, she's aggressive. And I think it was a pretty good characterization.
Okay. I totally agree with that. It's like, I understand that that's how it is, and that it makes sense to me. I think for me it's just more of a headcanon thing.
Yeah.
I kind of took that character that we have met in Best Night Ever, and just kind of expected her to always be like that. So when she's like this gruff, hard-nosed, kind of just no nonsense, it's like, oh, this isn't what I expected. That's not to say that it took anything away from her for me. It's just it's something I definitely didn't expect, and it definitely took a lot of getting used to, because I just I kind of had this this headcanon thing of her just being a lot nicer. But then again, it is an academy, and you do have to be very no nonsense and such. And I certainly couldn't expect Soren to be that guy, just from what we saw in Best Night Ever. So I guess it had to be one of the two. It would be Spitfire. So that's just how I felt. But I think that's one of the things that gave me just a more tepid reaction to the episode than I would have liked. Just because I think I expected something a little. I just kind of wished, I was excited to see Spitfire. I just wished it wasn't her doing that. I just wish that part of her personality hadn't come out. But that's just, again, that's a really super dumb reason, and I totally acknowledge that. It's just that one of those weird headcanon things. You get something in your head, and it's hard to let go of that. But anyway, moving away from that a little bit, speaking, I guess, of canon, in a way, a lot of people, like Nemesis mentioned about Pinkie Pie, possibly being a little annoying. Some other people kind of, and this is along the same lines, claim that she was a little out of character in this episode. What do you guys think about that, starting this time with Artfan?
I felt she was pretty in character. I mean, it's Pinkie Pie's nature to be overly hyperactive about every little minute detail, and so understandably waiting for a letter to show up from her friend who's at the academy is totally in character for her. And then for someone to come up and be like, well, you might want to write her a letter before she can write back, and then for Pinkie to be like, oh yeah, I have something better, let's go see her. And then it's like, I just felt it was all in character for her. I didn't think anything was out of place there. It just seemed like same old for Pinkie Pie.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Nemesis, what do you think?
Well, it's kind of hard for me to think about. Sorry, it's kind of hard for me to talk about how I actually think about it, because I didn't find her really that annoying. But I was one of those people who found her annoying back in A Friend Indeed. That's the episode. A lot of people are like, "Oh, she was great," and I was like, "Actually, I think she was kind of annoying." But this episode, I didn't really find her that annoying. I mean, I kind of find her she was acting kind of dumb, because she was sitting there checking the mailbox every 2 seconds. That's not how mail works, Pinkie. You just saw the mailman, the mailman deliver, or mail pony deliver something earlier. That's not how mail works. So what are you doing? Stop. But
Pinkie, stop.
But otherwise, I didn't find her too. I guess I didn't really find her that annoying. I was just kind of like, yeah, she's kind of being Pinkie, maybe a little more intense than usual, but she kind of shown before that she is kind of clingy when it comes to her friends. So when one's gone for a long time, she is probably going to not react well. So Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I didn't find her annoying, but I have a very high threshold for annoyance, I guess. So maybe that's partially my thing for that. It's just I very rarely get annoyed certainly not by like animated characters. So that's a thing. But as part of being in character, she seemed like Pinkie to me. The thing is, like, it's been very subtle, but it's kind of become to a point where at this point now we're Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash are actually like pretty good friends, more so probably than a lot. I think of all the ponies, like in the main six, I think Rainbow Dash's closest friend is probably Pinkie, if I had to guess. And like, or it just seems like it to me. One of the more recent examples I can cite is from Too Many Pinkie Pies, when she's all big on, hanging, like Rainbow Dash asked specifically her to hang out over at the pond or wherever they went. And so to me, it's like I feel like they're a lot. They're pretty close. And
shippers rejoice. I mean, no.
So to me, it kind of made sense that Pinkie would be so very, sad to see her go, and like, kind of going through withdrawals and like checking the mailbox over and over again. Of course, I think she'd probably do that for just about any of the characters too. But it made a lot of sense to me when it comes to Rainbow Dash. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, like she it has been clearly defined that Pinkie is crazy, like actually crazy. So when she does kind of crazy things, we can't get that like be that surprised about it. It's like, that's Pinkie Pie. That's who she is. Although, like, there is no excuse so sometimes for doing kind of dumb things, like you mentioned with the mailbox thing. But at the same time, this is like a kid show, and kids are gonna find that funny. So there's that. Yeah. Again, that's how I felt. I mean, again, first fight, I don't really find her. I've never found her annoying, and I found her in character here. I don't think I've ever found her really too out of character. Very rarely, if ever. I can't really think of a specific instance off the top of my head, but I'm also haven't watched the whole series back again in a while, so maybe I need to do that. What else do I have to ask about? So, Lightning Dust, the character in this, I guess not really an antagonist, but like, kind of the
the antithesis
on your shoulder you got
to Rainbow Dash, I think, is a good way to.
Yeah. Well, you got on your shoulder the angel and the devil. I guess she could kind of be the devil in a way, in the sense of like, she's like kind of she's not super bad, but she like is more of like a character that's a little more on the wild side and is going to do some things that might not be, you might not want to do, but you sometimes follow along with it anyway because you give in or whatever. Anyway, of course, Lightning Dust gets kicked out of the academy by the end of the episode. Do you guys think that was actually a little harsh? Like, did you expect her to actually get kicked out of the academy, or just more reprimanded? Start with Nemesis. What do you think?
Let's see, the kicked out versus. Let's see. At this point, by that point in the episode, it was like she had kind of shown that she had like zero remorse. I mean, if it was, I think that was the difference. It's like, it's one of those things. Like, if she showed remorse and realized what she did was endangering someone else, I think it would have been a reprimand. But the fact she did not care that, oh yeah, they're fine, whatever, who cares? And it's like, and I think because of that, that's probably what would lead to Wonderbolt to being kicked out. Because like, when you're on a team and you don't care that, like, say your teammate just spun out, that's kind of be a problem really fast. And it's like, this is one of those things you might want to bite this one now. It's like, and just kind of speaking of, Lightning Dust a little bit, I'm probably going to get a little off topic and babble a bit, but I don't care. I think Lightning Dust is what Dash would have been if she didn't get one, didn't meet, the friends she has, and two, didn't get kicked in the head a few times about her behavior. You kind of see it?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, season
absolutely.
2 in particular, because, Dash's reaction to the whole thing, like honestly saying, I quit. This is her dream, and she says, I quit. That's part of the reason why Dash is now suddenly becoming likable to me, because it's like, she's saying no to her dreams because it goes against what she, doesn't feel right. She thinks it's that this isn't right. I'm not going to be willing to compromise myself. But I don't think season 1 Dash probably would have just kept going with it. But because she's grown over the last few seasons, it totally made sense. It was in character. But she did this in season 1. I said she wouldn't have done that. She would have gone ahead and done it anyway until someone. But anyway, that's just me. But yeah, this is just my whole opinion spiel thing on just the whole thing.
Okay.
That Lightning Dust is what Dash would have been.
And that's a great point, because I was actually thinking the same thing. I think that she was supposed to be what Rainbow Dash would have been without all the lessons about friendship and everything like that, and without the character growth that we've seen her go through for 2.5 seasons.
The cracked mirror, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the alternate reality Rainbow Dash in a way, you know what I mean? Especially when you do look back at those early episodes, Rainbow Dash is very much like that. You know what I mean? So to see this other character, kind of present that to us, it gives us the side-by-side comparison, which is nice in a way. It's like you really get to see how far Rainbow Dash has come along as a character, and I think it's refreshing. You don't really, well, I guess with the other characters, it's really hard to do something like that because they've kind of remained the same since day one. So
I disagree with you on that, but that's beside the point.
But yeah, that's pretty much my take on it. Is she was just there to show us a different side of things, how things could have been, and I don't think her getting thrown to the academy was too harsh. I mean, it was unexpected, to be sure, but no, I don't think it was too harsh, because I think even Spitfire realized that fellowship among ponies is more important than being a number one. So if you're going to have that kind of attitude and be on that type of team, then you don't belong on that team. You don't belong on the Wonderbolts if you're just going to be about yourself and not about the team.
Right. Oh, and another thing I've noticed, some parts of the fandom have already kind of picked up Lightning Dust as kind of the new Trixie. Oh, she's just misunderstood. You don't understand. It's like, here we go again.
Well, we already saw Trixie come back.
The new Trixie, Gilda.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like,
so on and so on. And
you don't understand, and they make up this whole complicated, she had a troubled childhood or whatever thing. It's like, oh boy, here we go.
I'm sure there's plenty of fanfics already.
Lightning Dust might not have been bad, but she was certainly another word that starts with a B.
Oh.
I don't get it.
I'm trying to keep the podcast child friendly, man. Cut me some slack.
I'm really confused. Anyway,
a bad pony. Wait, no.
Yes, that's exactly. I'm still kind of mixed on it. Like I didn't expect it. First of all, I expected it to end up being a switch. She'd be made. Rainbow Dash would become lead pony, and Lightning Dust would be wing, and it go from there. So, but like in terms of, was it too harsh? I almost think like it might have been a little like I kind of expected a little more, maybe more of like a, you're suspended, or you're being sent back to rookie class or something like that. Like send her back to like a lower level until you learn how to to control your recklessness. Well, not control your recklessness, that doesn't really make sense, but kind of control yourself, so that you're not reckless like that, and that you think before you do things like that. Because obviously Spitfire first thought that was like resourceful, until like the whole thing about it almost basically killed the main other main six. It was like, oh, ooh, yeah, but so I mean, like in one sense, it's like, okay, because that happened, it's like, well, that's very reckless. That's real. That's super hardcore. Like, yeah, maybe she should be kicked out. But at the same time, I was like, I almost just kind of expected her to be like sent back to the minor leagues. Well, I guess this is the minor leagues, with the even further back minor leagues. because maybe this is just how I am, but I still think she's talented, and it's like, well, I mean, maybe people can change. I don't know. I mean, we've certainly seen characters change so far in this show, so maybe Lightning Dust will pop back up here eventually, and will have changed. Or maybe she'll be like Trixie, and well, Trixie has to a small extent,
Sort of.
but yeah, that's a whole other can of worms. So, speaking of the main six, I'm gonna put it bluntly.
Oh.
Were the rest of the main six even necessary in this episode?
Not
Artfan.
Not to me, no. I think it was nice to have them featured as a subplot, but to me they just kind of felt crowbarred in to always keep cutting away to them. It distracted from what they were trying to tell, from the story they were trying to tell with Rainbow Dash at the Academy. I don't think that you always have to have the main six in every single episode. If you're going to give a character a solo episode, give them a solo episode. Have the main six appear in the beginning and then show up again at the end. But, don't keep intercutting throughout the middle of the episode by showing us, hey, they're still here. Yes, we know they're still there, and we know we're going to see them again. You don't have to really remind us of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Nemesis.
Of course Twilight's necessary. But, no. But anyway, I didn't find it. I mean, it was kind of helping set up at the end where it's like, why are they coming up all of a sudden? It's like, it kind of shows like the reason there is because Pinkie really missed Dash and wanted to, make sure she was all right. So they decided to go visit her, and they kind of helped set that up. And, it's also a lot of shows just have the A plot, which is the big one, and you got the B plot, which is kind of running at the same time underneath. And sometimes, and really when you have good writers, they'll intertwine at some point. And that's what happened.
Right.
Eventually, at the end, we get the intertwining. So I didn't really find it distracting, and just to say they have had episodes without some of the main six, or only one even showing up at all.
Yeah, there's been some times where Rarity hasn't shown up. I know.
Yeah, or like the one before this, only half of them showed up. The other half were just completely absent.
Yeah. Hey. It's tough for me. Like I kept watching the whole time. At the time, I was thinking, why are they here? Why do we care? And then it turned out because they end up kind of being a bit of a device for Rainbow Dash to kind of, for it all to come to a head with the whole recklessness thing. And so I guess in that sense, it's good because I doubt Rainbow Dash would have, come to that realization as fast without her friends being in danger and, element of loyalty there. She's gonna go save them. And she's shown time and time again that, when it comes to her element, she does stick to it pretty well. So it's not like she's gonna let them fall, or anything. So why not throw the friends in there to be the catalyst, I suppose, for, what ends up coming after. But, at the same time, it's just sometimes it was just like, I almost feel like it could have even just been done with just Pinkie. And maybe like Twilight to get her up there,
I'd be okay with that.
Like Twilight and Pinkie, because Pinkie's got to get there somehow. So, I get, and Fluttershy is sure not going to carry her. So,
Fluttershy
that was also something funny that I noticed. Yeah. When they're all falling and Fluttershy's falling, it's like,
why aren't you flying?
Her pace.
It's like she just forgot.
She just, I mean, that's just.
Yeah, speaking of that scene, a lot of people are like, oh, that's a plot hole. They just bounce right off the cloud. They're supposed to fall right through. It's like, you think Twilight, who's really, super organized about this stuff, would not think of, oh, we're visiting a Pegasus place. I better put the cloud walking spell on everyone. Duh.
Yeah, I actually thought that at first, and I realized, oh yeah, duh. I'm sure it's what she did. Because yeah, the first I was like, oh wait, interesting. But yeah, anyway, I don't think this is necessarily something that all the main six need to be in. I enjoyed the Pinkie subplot. I think it could have been done at the end with just Pinkie and Twilight.
Probably.
Maybe, or just Pinkie and some way to get her up there, so that she could fall, or they or whoever, and then that would be the catalyst for the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just sometimes I this isn't the only episode that's been like this, where I've just been like, okay, why are these characters? These characters aren't really doing anything. It's just kind of, they're there. Whatever.
But it's worth it for seeing Applejack's face Applejack made when Pinkie was babbling, just kind of looking at the camera like, do you see what I have to put up with?
Yes, that was pretty great. I think I only have one more question for you guys. And this is kind of a cause and effect type thing, like kind of a looking forward. At the end, Rainbow Dash is obviously kind of let back into the academy. I know she mentioned that it was only like a week-long thing, but what if it's more than that? What could this mean for Rainbow Dash in terms of her being arguably the top flyer, the top performer in this academy? In terms of will we see her less from now on? Will she still visit, or like is she going to be doing more Wonderbolt stuff? I mean, what do you think is going to happen from here on out in terms of Dash and the Wonderbolts? And I guess we'll start with Nemesis.
Yay! Actually, I was thinking about this because, like, between this and several other things, it feels like everything's starting to come to a close. I mean, you got Dash is now in the middle of fulfilling her lifelong dream. I mean, she's not there yet, but the way she's going, she's gonna get there pretty quickly. I mean, I'm willing to bet this week-long thing is because it's the initial. This is where they weed out the initial, triers, and then you get invited back if you're good enough, or something. But it's like, this means she's pretty much well on her way to becoming a Wonderbolt, which is like a big thing for her. And adding on top of that, you got other characters that now, are kind of coming into the thing, and including the overarching Twilight Destiny plot thing that they teased a bit. I'm starting to get this feeling that season 4 is probably going to be the final season of this show. The only reason I say season 4 is because it's kind of all but confirmed that there's going to be one. So I'm thinking they're setting up. This season is setting up for the finale, like the big final season where they finally tie everything up and everything, and that's that. It's over.
Yeah. Artfan, agree, disagree, other thoughts?
I pretty much agree. I mean, well, on the point of season 4 being the last season, I do feel that. I mean, I would even say I don't even like watching the way things are progressing. It feels like something's building up to a big climax at the end of this season. Like, I'm really curious to see A, how they're going to end this, and B, what they decide to do to continue it with another season. Because I almost don't feel like if they tie it, like what it feels like they're building up to here, it doesn't feel like a whole other season would be necessary to finish that story. Maybe just like a movie.
Story, but I'm just talking about overall.
Overall, yeah.
Just the overall, the final season will just be dealing with everything being wrapped up.
Yeah, I suppose. And yeah, I have nothing else, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, this is going to be really interesting. This is for sure, because I feel like it's not going to be, Dash isn't going to be gone.
No.
But at the same time, there's going to be a lot more references to it. Just kind of like how in this season there's been more references to Twilight and her new magic spells. And
yeah, they even made references in this episode.
Yeah, right. So I feel like there's going to be more references to that. And, who knows, maybe we'll start seeing other characters kind of get their comeuppance, so to speak, with like maybe realizing a dream of theirs or something like this. It's definitely seems like it's racing to some sort of finale, whatever that finale ends up being, and whenever it ends up being, whether it's like a finale at the end of the 3rd season, or like a total series finale at the end of the 4th, or a movie, or whatever. Either way, like, it seems like it's heading towards something, and it's tough to say what, but like, they can only do this for so long. We obviously know that, and they can only kind of do this whole thing with Dash and the Wonderbolts for so long before something finally happens with it. Now it's starting to finally happen. Where else do you go after this? What else can you really do with that once she's part of it? And to that end, it almost just seems like, well, they've decided now to finally do this episode where she gets closer to that. We must be getting closer to to the end of the whole thing, which is weird to think about, but sensible, I guess. I mean, like, we're coming up on the 4th season, so it's not like it's weird. I mean, like, that 4 seasons is a pretty good run, but it's just it's so strange to think about. But I think that's what it means for Dash here coming up, and I'm excited to see in the upcoming episodes how they tie it back in, like what if they mentioned how she's been progressing or anything like that. I hope this isn't just a thing where, like, a one-off, you know, they mention it and she's awesome, but then it's not really mentioned again until, like, next season or something. I would like to see this repeated somehow. And to that end also, I'd like to see not only her, but some of the other characters have some sort of thing, you know, get closer to their own dreams of whatever they dream of doing, selling apples or whatever. So that's about it. So I guess that's
Sorry, just hit me.
What?
Just, her dream is selling apples. Like, oh, she kind of already does
sells. But she's gonna sell a lot of
sell
apples.
them to the princess herself. Wait, what?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's gonna be hired as Soren's chief pie maker. They're all gonna live with the Wonderbolts somehow, except for Twilight. She'll be in the main castle, and then the other ones will be in Cloudsdale. That'll be season 4, the Cloudsdale Chronicles.
What? You know.
Oh,
I think
God, that'd be interesting.
I
Anyway.
think the ultimate sign that the show would be ending is if the CMC get their cutie marks. I'm like, uh-oh. Everything just got real.
Exactly, that's on
That could be the whole season 4 right there. There's
Oh God, no! Please, it'll be just like Scrubs all over again.
Dad, no, please. That's a good comparison, Nemesis. It would be like Scrubs all over.
Yeah. Hey, you know these characters you love. Yeah, we're gonna write them out and focus on these other ones.
Yep. It's like what they're doing with Glee right now, apparently.
Glee is still on the air.
Anyway.
Holy crap!
It's huge.
Yeah, I knew you'd say that.
Although people are losing interest or whatever.
Well, yeah, but I guess that's it for this episode.
Yeah.
We had a lot to talk about.
Indeed.
That's because I love the discussion and I tend to just find all these questions. But we'll come back this week, I guess, and talk about Apple Family Reunion. Is that what's up?
Yep. That's the one.
Yeah.
Seems legit.
Buy some apples.
Buy some
But
apples. Maybe you'll see
all
some
right,
parents
so
finally.
yeah, right. I guess moving on. Oh, and if you have anything you want to say to us about this episode, agree or disagree with any of our points, and bring something else up, as always, feel free to sound off in the comments of YouTube or wherever, or write us on Twitter, or email, whatever. We'd love to hear from you. Anyway, I guess we got fan content coming up. But first, in place of a fanfic this week, Nemesis is going to review the DVD of My Little Pony Season 1, and which he got a couple weeks ago. And yeah, take it away. Tell us, is it worth getting?
Okay.
Pretty much.
At this point, First off, just real short again. Yes, I say it is definitely worth buying. And so here's the thing: it's all 26 episodes of the first season, and I didn't actually watch the whole thing, but because I've already seen all the episodes, so it's like not like it's like the change at all. Unlike say season 2, where a certain episode changed.
They throw in little Easter eggs into each episode. It's actually really fun.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's little things they include as bonus features: the sing-alongs, which most people don't care about, the coloring sheets, and the one that I think most of us are interested in is audio commentaries. So the thing is, of the 26 episodes, only 6 of them have any commentary whatsoever. Everything else is just the episode. But again, it's actually a good transfer. So it's like the color quality is good, the sound quality is good. So it's not like you're getting a subpar product. The packaging itself, standard. Comes in a slipcase. The plastic is clear, so it's got a nice little back picture for when you open it up and everything. And oddly enough, it's got cadence on one of the discs for whatever reason. Yeah, and also the art, they use a mix of the vectors that everyone's well aware of by now, and actual, or not the vectors, the stock art and the like vectors from the show. So like on the front, you got like 4 of them are stock art, but Twilight and Rarity are vectors from the show, and on the back, all of them are stock art except for Applejack and Pinkie for whatever reason. And yes, including oddly enough Fluttershy, for whatever reason on the cover, she is missing her iris. So that's a little bit of an oversight that's been there for a while. And so anyway, you put the DVDs in. There's 4 of them. Nice thing is it's very quick to get to the menu. There's no like a billion previews for anything, or anything, which is nice. And also nice is not. I'm pretty sure they're not unskippable. I didn't actually check, but I hope you like the theme song, because that's going to play on repeat on the menus over and over and over and over again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the theme song. So you're on the main menu, that's all the theme song. If you're on one of the sub menus, you get the end credit version of that. So it's the shortened 30-second version over. Yeah, so I would say, yeah. Of course, the audio commentaries are funny, and they're actually informative. They kind of tell you all these little things that you might not have known. I mean, because you got Jason Thiessen, you got Tabitha St. Germain, Andrea Libman, Nicole Oliver. Let's see, who else? They got 2 Hasbro guys that I can't remember, but they're just Hasbro executive type, not executive, but Hasbro people, so they're not actually directly involved, but they're more the franchise people who've been working on the franchise in general. And eventually Daniel Ingram shows up in one of the episodes for Winter Wrap Up and Forward. So it's like, oh, that's pretty nice, because he actually talks about, so you get little bits of trivia, like Spike was actually referred to as fax machine, which is kind of funny. Just they kind of referred to him as fax machine the whole time, because that's what he was basically written to be. Lauren Faust herself kind of referred to him as a fax machine, so it's kind of like, oh,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it is. So the episodes they did commentary on were the Friendship is Magic Part 1 and 2, Winter Wrap Up. Let's see, what are the other ones? Suited for Success. No, not that one. It's the Showstoppers and Best Night Ever. I think those are all of them. Yeah. You get little insights. Like, also, Daniel Ingram, he talks about how he wrote Winter Wrap Up and stuff, and talk about how at first he wrote it in such a way that it goes up, and when he originally wrote it, it actually went down. The notes did, and it's just kind of. And they also come up with little weird jokes, and you kind of occasionally hear the voices from the voice actors, and it's just pretty nice. And even talking about like why Tara Strong doesn't do the singing voice, because Tara Strong can sing. I've heard her do it before in other shows. So it's like, why? It turns out just because it's just really difficult because she was in L.A. and they're all in Vancouver, and it's just really difficult for Daniel Ingram to have to, because they tried apparently, but they just like, well, we can't do it. It's just logistically not good. So I would definitely recommend it. It's just, for a while, it was actually kind of scary, because I went to Amazon, because apparently it's an Amazon exclusive, and at one point they said they were sold out. I was like, oh, wow. I guess I shouldn't be worried about not selling well. And now it's back in stock though, so I'd hurry up before it sells out again. Let's see, what else is there? The menu kind of looks nice, I should say. Back to the menu thing, I just kind of remembered it was the My Little Pony logo has a nice little 3D effect, kind of, not super nice, but still kind of nice. And it's just the same the cover again, just on the menu. The bonuses, there's one that they don't mention. It's these character profiles, and they're kind of weird. It's just these really short, like 30-second little, or I think 30 to 50-second little snippets about the characters, the main 6, except for, oddly enough, Dash is replaced with Princess Celestia, and I don't know why. It's kind of weird. So you don't get one for Dash, but you get one for Princess Celestia. And there's some factual errors within these little profiles. Like they said, Princess Celestia is the only pony with both wings of a Pegasus and horn of a unicorn. I'm like, no. This isn't true. This wasn't true even back then. But the sing-alongs, let's see, you got the one that came out a while back, the extended edition of the extended version of the main song with the little lyrics, and there's the At the Gala song as well, which is nice. Although it's weird what they did. They kind of did that lazily. They just kind of covered up like half the screen with, or not half the screen, but like a quarter of the screen with just a bar, and that's where they put the words. So a good chunk of the screen is actually covered up, oddly enough. But it's kind of nice because there are a few lyrics in there that I didn't know what they were. Now I know, because I got to see them. Coloring sheets, yeah, you got to put them in your DVD drive on your computer, and it's a PDF, and you got to print them out. So that's one thing. But like I said, most of us are in audio commentaries, and they're worth it. Just for even though it's only 6, which is kind of disappointing. But other than that, I would say go for it. And it says it is more or less widescreen. It's not like you got to worry about it being cut off. That's got the black bars, and just as a note, when you're watching on a 1080p computer monitor, dang, it's 640 by 480 tiny.
Interesting. Okay. Well, cool. Thank you very much for that insight to the DVD. And if you haven't bought it yet, ladies and gentlemen, where can people order that?
Amazon.com. Just search for My Little Pony Season 1. Right now it's on sale. I'm not sure how long it's last for $26 and normally $35.
All right, so hopefully you can get your hands on a copy so that you can hear some of these awesome commentaries and some of the other special features.
Maybe they'll release a Blu-ray in Season 2. Hope.
That'd be awesome. So fan content, I have 2 songs for y'all this week that you should listen to. I didn't listen to a lot of music this week, and I kind of feel bad for it, but I'll do my best to get going next week, if there is a next week. But I went back to 2 old standbys that we featured on the show before. The first song this week is a song entitled Castle Grounds, and it's by a artist named Radiark. Now, Radiark, we featured, I think, episode 10, with a song called, I think it was called "Waiting for a Friend," something like that, something about a friend. But Radiark does mostly ambient orchestral stuff, lot music that is not so much mood music as it is setting music. It's something that you look at a picture. Like in this case, if you go on the YouTube page for the song and you look at the picture and you listen to the music, and you can kind of paint a picture in your mind of like what could be going on there, what is happening, just from seeing that picture and hearing the music. Very, very cool song. Pretty slow, just slow building, but has some cool things going on inside it. Really just captures this whole idea of castle grounds at night, and kind of walking around, not necessarily sneaking around, I don't think, but I guess you could kind of get that feel from it too. So yeah, I don't have too much to say about it, but it's a very solid tune, and yeah, I need to listen to more of Radiark stuff, because I've only listened to these 2 songs for some weird reason, and I'm sure there's quite a bit out there that's very good. And if you're listening to this, anybody out there, and have listened to Radiark and have any recommendations, by all means, throw some out there in the comments. The other song is, I think it's the 3rd time we've featured this guy, maybe 4th, I forget. He is the song is called Derpy, the Red-Nosed Pony, and it's by Les Soldats Pony.
Then how the ponies loved her as they shouted out with glee, Derpy the red-nosed pony, you'll go down in history. But Derpy, she did not go for that. She said, I see through your silly games. How can you look me in the face when only yesterday you called me names?
And I wanted to feature this song this week because Christmas, and I guess we will have another episode out before Christmas actually occurs, or at least that's the plan. But nonetheless, wanted to kind of get you guys in the Christmas spirit maybe a little bit. And why not? What better than a reworking of a classic Christmas tune by one of our own in the fandom, Les Soldats, who, as you probably know if you've ever listened to this podcast, I find many of his songs to be really, really interesting, and just I love listening to them. You know, acoustic folk type music, instrumentation, singer. I mean, the voice is love the voice always. Ever since I first heard Manhattan, was it Manhattan Mornings, Manhattan Evenings, one of the two is what it was called, that he did with a Centrifuge, I believe it was. That was in our first episode. But cool little parody, I guess, for lack of a better term, of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You know, of course, using Derpy instead. But very chill, but very easy to discern the lyrics. So definitely check it out and take a listen to the lyrics, and maybe you'll get a chuckle out of some of them. Maybe you'll just straight up enjoy it. Kind of get you, because I don't think we're ever going to get much Christmas out of this fandom. Maybe next week we'll change that, but this will kind of get you into the Christmas spirit with Pony, something that we don't get too much. So yeah, that's the music I had for this week from the interwebs, and we'll come back next week with some more, probably a little more than just 2 songs. I'll take more listens to more stuff, and we'll see what we can come up with. But yeah, do either of you two have any thoughts on that really quick before we move on?
Let me think. I like the Radiarch one a lot, or at least from what I remember, because I'll be honest, it's been a while since I actually listened to it, but I remember liking it. And although I'll be honest, the other one I wasn't really big on. I just thought I just didn't like it. I just kind of thought it was I don't know, I just didn't like it. Maybe it's because I don't like the Rudolph song in the first place.
Yeah, it could be. That's all good. Yeah, okay. Well, I suppose that brings us to the end of our podcast for the week. You made it through an entire podcast, dear listener. Good job.
Woo.
Thank you very much. So yeah, I guess coming up next week, we'll talk about the new episode, Apple Family Reunion.
Hopefully more timely this time.
It's sure to be really interesting. Well, yeah, it'll be interesting, I'm sure. But I guess Megan McCarthy posted a thing on Twitter tonight about the episode, kind of a spoiler. Nemesis, what was it again?
She says that she's excited because she gets to see Pony sing in the episode. One of the main 6.
That's what it was. So, not saying it's not saying it's Rainbow Dash. Not saying it's Applejack.
Certain character, but yeah, it's probably Applejack because it's the Applejack episode. Or maybe it's Big Mac.
That would be fantastic.
Big Mac Applejack duet. Woo!
Oh yes. Throwing some Granny Smith in there for good measure.
Oh, what the hell, Apple.
Yeah, and then Sweetie Belle singing 99 Buckets of Oats. But yeah, so that's what you got to look forward to next week, and of course we'll have some fan content, and we'll have some other things going on in the episode. Who knows? And you can be sure we'll be around, doing our thing as we tend to. But until that day comes, you should check us out on a couple different places. You might be listening to this episode on YouTube currently, and if so, great. If not, youtube.com/pony411 to find all of our past episodes on that medium. You can also find us at pony411.libsyn.com. Libsyn is Libsyn. That has a place that you can download all the episodes from. You can also download directly from iTunes. Just search Pony411, and lo and behold, there we are. Subscribe to us, and you can just get our stuff as soon as it is released on either iTunes or YouTube. You can take your pick. Also, social media-wise, we're on Twitter and Facebook. Just enter those in /pony411 for either one. So like us, follow us, do whatever you want. We're also on Twitter ourselves. We're also on Facebook too, but I don't know if we should give those out. But we're on Twitter. I'm at 4stringmlp, Nemesis being at Nemesis Prime 1, and Artfan at Artfan88. Of course, he's not awake anymore, so I'm not
actually
sure.
very awake. I've just been listening.
He is awake.
I've just been listening to you and him ramble on. So and I had nothing to add. So
I honestly thought you were asleep.
I just didn't have anything to add, and there was no place to jump in, so I was like, I'm just gonna let these guys roll. So.
There we go. We roll. We did, but also if you have any emails for us, pony411podcast@gmail.com. You can email us for comments, questions, news tips. If you want to see whatever your group or organization featured on the Pony podcast, either way, send it to us. We'll probably feature it.
And please send all hate mail to fusionfox@gmail.com.
Yes.
Assuming that's his actual email.
I don't know. I forget. Oh well. So a Fusion Fox is going to be very upset. Yeah. Hopefully we'll have him next week, and as well as other people who've been on our podcast in the past. Maybe we'll finally have a full slate one day. We'll see. But until that day comes, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to Pony 411. And remember to tip your waitresses, and tell your local convention that they should pay for us to come to it. So you can all we do is just ramble like we were now. So if you like hearing us ramble, even then, if we just end up at a con anyway, just come up to us and just lock us in a room. We'll probably ramble too about how you should let us go, and about how we want to see our families again. Except for it won't matter because the world's ending. So I'm sorry about that, guys. I'm sorry that the world's ending on the 21st, but you know what? You should live it up before that. But
YOLO.
As always, YOLO. You should YOLO. Because YOLO. But, no. But, do you even lift? You only lift once. But,
Alright.
Where was I going with this?
I think what you were going to say is that you were going to
Art, no, stop.
I was going to say that you should live it up your last couple days here on Earth. But while you do that, remember that you should pony responsibly while you live it up. Because if you don't, then we're going to come get you. And so is Tara Strong, because she just tweeted, please pony responsibly. Yeah. Tara Strong confirmed for Pony 411
obviously.
Fan. And obviously, I mean, we're the best. What can we say? So good night. Have a pleasant tomorrow. And please pony responsibly, and listen to all of our other episodes and all the other podcasts and tell us that we're better. Okay, bye. That was one of the things that kind of gave me more of a limp reaction to the episode. Wow, that could be taken so many bad ways.
Good night, everybody.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that over.
Oh, man.
That's one for the blooper reel.
Oh my god.